Let's connect then with Rajan Navani, the founder and CEO at Jetsynthesys, which is an online gaming platform, to understand the implications of this. Thank you so much for taking time out. Now, a lot of industry experts, a lot of people within your space have been very vocal. In fact, Ashneer Grover going on to say, RIP to the real money gaming industry. What is your overall take on this 28% GST being levied?
So, Avanne, firstly, thank you for having me here. The online gaming industry is kind of divided into, multiple segments, right? As you're aware, the real money gaming, fantasy gaming, the video game industry, and I think each of these segments are actually impacted a little differently from the way the GST, has getting applied, and I is really different here is the application of the GST applying on fantasy and real money gaming companies on its face value. And I think that's really where, the entire challenge has come in for that sector of the industry. For the video game industry, which we are a part of, a large part of the GST gets applied to the in-app purchases that, gamers make in the game, etc. And India is, a market, especially when you have games for the local audiences here. It's mainly driven by both in-app purchases as well as, advertising and rewarded videos, and, monetization is driven through multiple such channels. So the impact of that increase in GST on the video game industry, which is also like a big driver of the esports industry, which the Ministry of Sports has now, certified as a part of multi-sport events, is, I would say, financially relatively much smaller than what that impact would be on the real money and fantasy gaming industries. So I think that little distinction is what seems to be emerging. But I think one still needs to understand the total implication of this move as we move forward.
Do you think that this move effectively creates a very hostile environment for the legitimate domestic platforms? Because the government at one point had actually planned to promote this as a sunrise sector. So do you think that this is absolutely contradictory to that in a way?
Fantasy gaming and the real money gaming, platforms which have, become fairly large in India will be very largely negatively impacted, through this. Unfortunately or fortunately at Jetsynthesys, at our platforms, which are, again, as I said, more on the video gaming industry and the esports sides of things, the impact is relatively, much smaller or insignificant as far as we are concerned. But I'm sure the other stakeholders, which are, largely impacted, will have to understand how new models will need to be built to be able to, navigate this particular kind of, rate of GST which is coming up.
Right, but given that now they are doing away with the distinction of game of skill and game of chance in the case of online gaming, don't you also stand to be significantly impacted in terms of your overall revenue? Because it is for online gaming, right?
Yeah, but it's on the face value of the spends of the gamers, right? So because in the video game industry, the gamer is spending on in-app purchases, which are routed through the Google Play Store and the Apple Play Stores, and I think those are for assets within the game that enhance their performance, that enable them to play better, that enable to unlock content. There's a subscription platform. So these kind of games are used more for entertainment, and of course for building an expertise that can ultimately, become a sport, right? I think so. Like our simulated cricket or virtual cricket experience is one where you become a better player in the game by playing a lot more, and as you become, you can become a sports person and then compete professionally like any other sports person in an esports kind of an event. So we are in that side of the gaming and esports industry, which I think has is not significantly impacted from this current GST move. And I think, as I'm also the president of the Indian Digital Gaming Society, which is anchored by the Confederation of Indian Industry, and the industry sector that IDGS is representing is largely the $180 billion global industry, which has, console gaming, PC gaming, and mobile video gaming. These are 50-year-old industries, that have been around. And I think that industry, as I said, India is still very, very nascent. It's a very small part of that industry. And as Jetsynthesys, we are, largely a part of that ecosystem, which I mentioned is not, as badly affected, from this move, because the full value of purchase, what you're saying, or what has come out in the media as of today, and of course, as I said, one would need to understand the fine print better, is largely impacting when, the outcome of that wagering or of that full face value is linked to a payout also, which is a cash payout. So there's money in and money out, which is, I think, which then gets affected drastically when the GST is applied on the face value of the amount at which people are coming in. So that's how we have understood this current regulation.
You're into, because it does involve mobile gaming, console gaming, AR and VR, even publishing and services. So do you think that perhaps your financials would be impacted on the back of a move like this, or it's going to be, like you said, fairly minimal or fairly insignificant, because you guys are across the platforms like Android, iOS, etc. So don't you as well stand to get impacted?
Yeah, as I said, marginally impacted, because as I said, our games, because the transactions are in-app purchases, right? It's like, or a subscription. It is only to the extent of the GST that gets applied, on that, right? And there will be a difference of that GST, which was 18%, getting increased to that. But where it gets applied on face value, where there is, a money which is going in and a money going out, so you think about it, on 100 rupees that is spent, if, that amount that is going in is only 72, and then the outcome is then linked as a factor of 72 and not of, 100. And that happens across everyone who is putting that 100 rupees in, and I think that's where the industry and the real money gaming and fantasy stands to get impacted significantly, through this move. But the video game industry, or, if you're seeing a console industry where you're buying a game from the market, or you're downloading a game, which is a premium game, which is priced at an X amount, there the GST difference will only be the difference between 18 and 28%, which, sometimes, gaming companies can decide to either pass it on or, increase their price marginally, the final price. So the impact is much smaller in that. And, in the free-to-play market where, most people play for free, the monetization of games also happens through advertising, through all of that. So it's not only the in-app purchase, or the download through the stores that drive the value, right? So I think those kinds of, gaming studios, the indie gaming studios, which India also has a large number of, which are growing, is not going to be, impacted through this. It's really the real money gaming and fantasy and many of those that are going to be largely impacted through this.
Fair enough. So there won't really be any need for you guys at a company at Jetsynthesys to really regroup, re-strategize and work how to deal with this? Is it going to now just be business as usual?
For us at our company level, yes, it is business as usual. It is also going to be something that, we have to see as we move along, from here. How do we look at our growth, which is going to come on the back of a growing, video gaming industry in India? How do we really look at, using good Indian studios, creating great IPs, going global, and I think that that ability of engaging talent from India to cater to the world, all those models which we are, strongly a part of, don't tend to get, affected significantly through this current move. But it always, gives you an understanding of what is the kind of environment within a particular country. It helps you make decisions for the future, which are definitely, more prudent around, what could be anticipated in the years to come. So strategically, I think, yes, we would, be thinking of many other aspects for that. But the direct impact as of now, as I said, is marginal as we, continue to move forward with our strong plays around the video gaming industry and esports, where, we are seeing significant traction, in India currently.
Just from an industry standpoint, do you think that, because you are, of course, involved in this sector as a whole, perhaps you individually as a company won't be impacted, but do you think there could be far-reaching implications like loss of employment? Because there are thousands of people who are also working within this sector.
Yeah, definitely. I think the companies that are involved in areas that are significantly impacted through this GST change will need to, like what you rightly said, get back into the boardroom, re-strategize, rethink, reinvent their model. It could impact significantly their growth and the plan which is there. It could affect employment, definitely. All the kind of repercussions of a growing kind of an industry, but which is also engaging more people, kind of scaling. And I think all those challenges will need to get redrafted in light of something like this. So I think the larger part to note is that it's not the 18 or 28%. I think it's the fact that this 28% is on the on the face value, right, of the spend of the consumer, that is actually driving a large part of these businesses to go back into the area, because a lot of the platforms were paying GST on the platform fees that were collected.
And just wanted to also understand from your standpoint how this move will impact consumer behavior, consumer patterns. Do you think that now they could perhaps move towards offshore and illegal platforms that pay no taxes? Is that an avenue that they would have to resort to if they are addicted, so to speak?
I think the gaming companies that have that consumer base will probably be able to give you a better answer. The consumer base that drives a large part of our businesses, are the video gamers and those who are aspiring to become esports professionals. And I think that group or that set of people